What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Now tonight, hopefully, if I can get the tune, we may not be getting the tune tonight because I'm waiting on my tuner to build the tune, but we're gonna get the Civic at least prepared to start, if you know what I mean. And we have been doing that for the past several weeks on and off camera. So I'm gonna show you here what we've got done, and it's pretty much everything. But first, let's just check out whatever happened to that all-wheel drive Integra that was going to be all-wheel drive that you saw a long time ago, probably a couple months ago, that wasn't all-wheel drive at the time, that was being converted to all-wheel drive. Well, Project All-Wheel Drive Integra is actually done. It's not my car, clearly, or else you'd see it a lot more. It is the infamous Teggy. It was capable of 800 a long time ago, but it didn't quite put that to the tire, I don't believe. I think it did on the dyno, but it was turned down a little bit because it was just Spin City. But now he's got his exhaust out the front and a full all-wheel drive system. As you can see, beefy old tires on the back. The whole list is done, and this thing is literally sick. So that thing actually makes, like, on wastegate right at 600-ish to the tires. And from what I've seen, I have not ridden in it yet, but it dead hooked in first gear. Dead hooked in first gear and second gear and third gear, of course, all the other gears. Now, as far as old Rudolph here goes, the list got smaller. It changed from the windshield over to right here, and we have knocked out basically everything on here besides draining the tank with the 85. We knocked out vacuum lines, flywheel cover, swapped fittings on the Mac, bled the clutch, boost wiring, everything is pretty much done besides oil, coolant, and draining the tank, which I got some E85 right here. That's actually old E85, and I don't know if I can trust it. Got some coolant here too. This is the new E85 that's going to go in it though, and so we're going to have to drain the tank on that. And yes, she is still dirty. She will be dirty until she pulls out of this shop, but she's going to get a good detail on her before she leaves here. So as far as this goes, we got all these lines ran. I just looped this one off because that's the way it's going to be for right now, because we're not really using these. You can always just plug them off, or if you need to use them, then they are there. But for right now, we're not using them. But all of our other lines are ran. We got our air filter on. This car is done, ready to go. We just got to put fluids in it. We got to prime up the engine, get the E85 out of the fuel tank, which is what we're going to be doing tonight. And then maybe we'll get it to turn over if I can get this tuned. So as we can see on the inside of the car, we kind of have a little bit of a mess right now with wiring and stuff because we're getting these gauges ran and wired up. But we're actually going to end up doing the gauges out of where the radio was, since this is going to be a full-blown race car and we're not using radio. Instead of doing it down the pillar like a lot of people do, I just thought it'd be cool to be right over there, and you can still catch it out of the side of your eye when you're doing pulls. I got the shifter in, shifter's all good. I adjusted everything, clutch is bled. Next thing, we got to do steering wheel also, but that'll be for later. But this car is pretty much done, and clearly it's gutted, but we got a little bit more work to do, and clearly a lot more cleaning up to do. But the goal right now is just to get this car started. Oh, also the last thing is that we have to throw it on the alignment machine because I did all those Megan Racing camber arms and readjusted all the suspension, and it's still loose in the back. So we're gonna throw it on the alignment machine and get it aligned, which is pretty easy because it's just, you know, it's just right over there. So maybe we'll be able to dry fire tonight, get the oil pumping through the motor before we actually fire it up. That's always a healthy thing to do. Just run that starter for a minute and get everything circulating around. Then once it fires up, it'll run for, I believe, about 10 minutes on the first oil change. And then we're gonna let the cams seat themselves, get a full heat cycle, and then drain the oil, put new oil back in it. It is a built motor, so next is just gonna be doing that over again, letting it go through another heat cycle, then get it, like, I believe like 15 minutes of run time, change the oil again. It's just really safe to do it that way to make sure you get all the nastiness out and all of the assembly lube out of the motor. So we're gonna do all that too. Now, as far as draining the tank, I think we're gonna hardwire the fuel pump like outside of the car pretty much. It'll still be in the car, but we're gonna wire it from outside the car, and then we're going to pull the line off of the rail, and we're going to drain it that way right into a 5-gallon jug or whatever, however much is in it, because it's definitely not good gas. So we've already run into our first problem of the night. Literally the first thing he touches, we're screwed. So typically these fuel rails, every single one of them has a center feed section to where you can run an AN line to it and feed fuel from both sides so you don't starve your cylinders, right? So for some reason, I guess we're about to pull it off, but it's not threaded. And there's normally an AN fitting that just screws right into that and you're good to go. Clearly that's not the case here because we can't win on anything we do with this car. It's like the haunted car. But yeah, so I guess we're gonna throw, what fuel rail do you have?
I have this fuel rail.
We're gonna throw Nick's old fuel rail on there for now and hope for the best off the Teggy. It's great, these cars' parts are interchangeable. It's all OEM, you know? Look, so we have professionals right here, but clearly it's cursed. Well, bro, I mean, they consider themselves professionals.
I got a manifold from Mercedes. Nick ordered.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
None of these things were threaded.
Okay, so what'd you do about it?
I fucking threaded them.
It doesn't make any sense though. Like, why would it have a nice plate, like an area for a plate to sit in it with 2 screw holes?
I'm assuming maybe there's supposed to be another piece to it.
That's what I thought.
There's nothing in the box.
Yeah. All right, so as we can see here, fuel rail is going in with the Dutchwork 2200s. Hopefully this one works. I'm gonna steal it from you. I'm just gonna keep it. I'm gonna start going with the silver vibe under the.
You can have it, my friend.
Oh, thank you, buddy. So as we can see here, we're returnless right now until further notice. We're just gonna tune the car, throw a tune on it that's gonna be really close on wastegate and break the motor in. And then we're gonna run a full AN dual pump setup all the way, like dash 10 AN lines with a return, everything. And it's gonna make like 680 hopefully once we turn it all the way up. But that's a couple months down the road.
No, we got a fuel rail, so we're gonna prime it and make sure we have fuel pressure and
nothing spews everywhere.
Nothing spews, and then we're gonna spew it on purpose to get all the old gas out of the system.
Yes.
All right.
All right. So now we're gonna prime the fuel pump up. It's primed. I don't see any fuel anywhere, so that's a good sign.
You'll smell it.
Oh yeah, you will. I see nothing.
Okay.
That's good.
No leaky leak.
No leaky leak. Oh, look at the lights, dude. Those things haven't run in like 4 years, have they?
They're gonna have to get buffed. For sure.
No, I got new headlights over there.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We'll throw them on. Now is the time to throw them on.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, it'll be a bumperless car for a minute because clearly my bumper is a little bit mangled.
Yeah, it has a little scratch on it.
Yeah, just a little one.
Just a little one. Yeah.
Only like 10, 12 inches.
Is it that big?
Yeah.
Okay, Podolski. So this is gonna spray me in the face.
Don't let it do it. Don't let it. Oh!
Told you, right in the face.
Bro, you should have held a rag over it.
Nah,
You just primed it like 5 times, dude. At least you're cleaning the motor.
okay.
That's some real. That's like almost 4-year-old 93, I think.
That's some old shit, man.
Yeah, dude. I'm sure it'll run fine, dude. We'll get into boost right now.
Alright, Kyle, you're gonna tell me how this works out, okay?
All right, I'm gonna tell you how it works out. It's gonna work, but explain to the people what's about to happen.
So, we're gonna prime fuel pump, drain into here. Hopefully, that works out well.
Hopefully there's less than 5 gallons in it. If there's not, I'll start yelling at you.
We will go dump it off in the grass.
Yeah.
And
Who needs grass?
not tell anyone we did that.
Yeah. So
And
the fuel
then
pump,
continue on.
the fuel pump is just wired in right now, correct? It's just
It's
wired in
stock
regular.
harness.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna prime it and make sure this works well. If it does, I'm gonna power probe the fuel pump,
Okay.
and we're just gonna send power until it's empty.
Okay. Sweet. Let's try it. All right. So as we can see here, our fuel line is draining fuel out, slowly but surely, right on into the tank. That is definitely very old gas. Yeah. At this rate, it's gonna take like probably an hour and a half. You like those bucket seats getting in and out of them?
I felt worse. The ones that you like sit in,
Yeah.
because the car's in your line machine, and then you fall like 3 feet. You think you're falling through the bottom of the car, but it's just their bucket seat.
So as we can see back here, we have our beautifully mounted
Box battery.
box battery.
It's a box. It's a boxed battery in a box.
In a box. It's a problem.
Very nice.
It'll be done eventually, but we just got to figure out where the fuel tank actually goes, and then we can drill into the actual body of the car and mount this in correctly.
I opened one, walked over here to put that little table up, and I lost it, so I got a new one.
Oh, okay.
But where did the third one go now? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it right there. So they're both your beers. So you need to pour that one and that one. Look, this is something that always has to happen when you're working on vehicles. Is some sort of beer has to be drank. Not for me. I don't drink beer.
Kyle, don't you lie.
No, I don't drink beer, dude.
You are an up and coming alcoholic just like myself. God
Yeah.
damn it, why you got so many bars in here, bro?
Bro, don't.
Fuck, Kyle.
You gotta go from the back.
We're already here.
Okay. Yeah, it's a slightly tight fit. I also need to get a cage done for this thing, cause this harness bar shit's not gonna work.
Ouch.
Yep. Yep. Pretty typical ouchies here. But he's basically just gonna probe the fuel pump, like the little tabs on the fuel pump plug, and then it's going to hopefully non-stop run the fuel pump until it drains it all. Hondas, for some reason, they just use some Phillips heads just to screw that bitch down.
I know, you can at least put like a 10 mil.
Oh, and check engine light.
Game over.
Alright, so right now I'm cycling the key to prime the fuel pump so we can figure out which wire is the signal wire. How many wires are there? Four. You ready? Alright, primed again. Send it. Oh. I'm gonna go check it. Oh yeah, she's draining. Yeah, it's good. So this could take a minute. We're at 3 bars of gas on our fuel gauge, which I'm surprised still works.
4 a second ago, so.
Oh, that's good. It is a 450, so it's flowing a
So when
little
someone
bit.
talks shit, I know that this attaches here. I understand. But I'm already here, so this is how we're doing it.
Yeah, you might as well just hold it there since you're back there.
Someone will say something.
Yeah, someone will. Somebody always says something on YouTube.
It's YouTube.
That's how it works. But except for I don't have enough subscribers or views yet for a lot of people to say shit, so it's fine.
One day.
One day.
I will say something. Kyle's jealous he's not all-wheel drive yet.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Front-wheel drive pansy over here, man.
Just because you're one of the few in the world that has an all-wheel drive K-Series. This car is going to become all-wheel drive just because you said that, I promise.
Perfect.
It's a
I
promise.
made mine all-wheel drive because Tim said his Corvette was faster.
Alright, we've just hit E on the gas gauge. Still 2 bars left, so probably a couple gallons. Alright, so we got all of our fuel out of it for now. Till we go put some new E85 in there. Prime everything up and hope for the best. Alright, so Nick's gonna finish wiring up the gauges here. They are pretty much wired all the way from all the hard stuff's done, but he's just gonna finish wiring up to the actual fuse board. And we should be good on gauges while I fill it up with some fuel. Alright, so I just put about, well, these are a little more. I fit like 12 gallons in those 2 cans, so I put 12 gallons in. So she should be filled all the way up with the, and he is still up in here and wiring some, finishing wiring some gauges.
You should go full lean once the sensor warms up.
Alright, so we got air fuel. I mean, it's clearly, oh, there's full lean. Perfect. Sweet, other gauge worked. Boost gauge, clearly 0 pounds. Alright, little update for you. Fuel rail and fuel pumps done. All the old gas is out of it, new E85's in. I have gone ahead and filled the radiator all the way up for now. Nick's just over here finishing up some little vacuum lines. Alright, so we're going back currently and retightening all the NPT threaded fittings for the vacuum lines on the little full race vacuum line setup, just because we wanted to double check and make sure everything is going to be okay. Coolant's going in, still not topped off. Oil's in the car, fuel's in the car. We're about ready. Alright, let me see if I can see oil moving. I see cams moving, but I don't see any oil.
The oil light went on.
Okay, that's good.
So we're priming for oil pressure. So I like to see the oil light go away before we start it. Also, when I assemble the motors, I use like a half oil, half assembly lube type mixture. So it's not super thick, it's not gluey. So I prefer to turn it over, get oil pressure through it, have oil on all the bearings and all the surfaces that need it. So everything's floating before you fire it the first time. That's best. That way you don't nick up the rod bearings. And
or scratch your cams.
do the majority of the
or
engine
anything
wear
like that,
the
yeah.
first time you ever start.
Yeah. So next step, we're going to go ahead and gap some plugs real quick to, what gap do you like? 0.02?
20 thousandths is,
Okay.
is 020.
Yep.
But once you turn it up, you probably end up at like 18 thousandths.
Dang, that's pretty tight.
That's
Even my
about where my car is at.
Evo is a .020, and that's
Well,
all
it's
I
crazy.
lose.
My car will bust up at 19 thousandths spark plug gap, but
The
at
Taggy?
18 it will make another like 50 fucking horsepower. And not break up.
The Taggy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and that also has a K20 in it. It has a K20A, right? Or
It's
A2.
pretty much the exact same motor setup. CSS,
This
turbo
one's not.
tops, J&E. Oh, we did not.
Yeah, we didn't CSS this block, but this is going to eventually be a sleeved block anyways. So we'll just see what happens.
Anytime soon.
It won't be anytime soon. We're gonna make like until it blows up, it's not gonna be a sleeved block.
Yeah. We'll let it be happy for a while.
Yeah. We'll let it be happy and walk a whole lot of people, because these motors, stock motors, you can make a whole lot of horsepower on
Stock
them.
sleeve makes 700 wheel all day.
Yeah.
People make 900 on CSS. I mean, sleeving a block is what? 1,500 bucks at most.
Yeah, it's not bad though.
Nah. And they set the piston to wall clearance, so you're saving machine shop fee on that anyways, because you're gonna pay a shop 400 bucks to set piston to wall with your forged piston, so might as well spend 1,400 bucks. Have a aftermarket sleeve in there as well. LA sleeve. And you can build the same motor with the same turbo setup, and one like something and the next like something else. It's normal.
So typically, well, on your car, it's 18 thousandths, right?
I pretty much start at 18,000
Really?
because it's gonna be on wastegate, like 25 pounds on wastegate. So
Which is like
I
600.
prefer not trying to tune through fueling and whatnot with it busting up because of the plugs blowing out spark. So I'd rather be like, oh, it's busting up because it's super fat on fuel.
Yeah.
Not because, and then not be chasing it in a tune and it be a spark.
So we're gonna come back tomorrow. Once we have the tune for it, he could download a base map or build a base map basically, but he's not going to tonight because we can have the full tune tomorrow, hopefully. So basically, engine's primed, coil pack's in, we just gotta get some 10 millimeters, put that up. And then tomorrow we're gonna come back on the same video and then hopefully start it. All right, so we're back the next day. Got the plugs in, got coil packs on it, plugged the coil packs in, made a base map for it, downloading base map right now, and we're gonna see if it starts. What you doing, making some adjusty?
Trying to figure out why she got no fire.
No fire. No bueno. Alright, fix the injectors on it. Hopefully. And nothing. So our first problem we think was possibly the injector pins coming out. There's a couple of them that were loose. Second is going to be the mass airflow sensor. I think he built the tune with the mass airflow sensor included, and remember when I rewired it to just an IAT, spliced it, that could be our issue. Alright, reflashing going on without, so how'd you do that? You just excluded the mass airflow?
Pretty much, you switch how the fuel tables read. It's trying to judge the fueling based off the map sensor, which it's not going to do very well.
Yeah, because if it's not plugged in, that's a slight issue.
So now it's more or less like a speed density temper.
Yeah. So for some clearance, all sorts of people out there saying you have to keep your, I don't know whose tuners y'all use, but I've seen a bunch of y'all that have said, well, your Honda box always has to stay plugged in when you have a tune from Honda. That's false.
That's pretty stupid.
You shouldn't have to keep your Honda box plugged in after your tune. And nothing. Just a little update. We have spark, we have fuel, we believe. We believe it could be something mass airflow related because the mass airflow sensor is no longer connected. It's just IAT off of it. Confusion. Oh! Oh! Something just happened.
I think I might have figured it out. Let's see what it does.
Really?
Yeah.
I really hope. MAF sensor problems. Oh! Oh! Come on. You may need to take some fuel out of it. Oh! 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 So clearly, as you can see, the car started. But we just ran into a small issue where it's making some kind of knocking noise. We've already discovered that it's definitely not the motor, probably not the transmission. There is one possible thing that it could be with the tranny, but our main issue here is we're thinking it's going to be clutch. But yeah, I'll catch back up with y'all on that. Thank you for stopping by the Casey Kyle YouTube channel, and I will catch y'all on the next video.